All right, Earthlings, welcome back to another Wheel of Time Thursday, where episode 6 of season 3 has just dropped. So, as per usual, Ian and I are going to give you our rapid reactions, our hot takes, our pros and cons, and our general vibes about the episode. But we're going to work kind of backwards this time because the ending was so awesome, so epic, so impactful for the story. So, let's start at the end and work our way towards 95 years ago with Leandrin.
But before we do that, please like, comment, and subscribe down below. And let's get this party started. Now, going to the very ending, Rand fighting Samael and the child dying and him having to try to bring her back to life. Very reminiscent of the book Seething and Tear. Very groovy. The fact that Rand goes just, like, he's not even facing Samael. He's just like, boom! I can just do whatever I want. Like, holy crap.
This was the first time we actually get to see how powerful Rand really is. We only get hints at it. Moraine, she asks him, how do you deal with all that power? Because she obviously knows comparably that he can just handle so much more than she can. And then when he's finally fighting Samael right there, back turned, looks like he's focused more on the power in his hands and what he's doing with it and just the wonder of it. Not even like Samael isn't even worth his time. He just dispatches him. Now, I don't think Samael's dead. I'm sure he traveled away or true powered himself away or whatever he ended up doing. But the fact that it was just contemptuously easy for Rand just to, as soon as Rand started, block whatever Samael was going to do with his power rot weapon or whatever he was using. And then that was it. Just easy.
Chill for 5 seconds and then just throw lightning after lightning after lightning at Samael.
That was super cool.
Samael.
Super cool. About time, because Rand is the most powerful channeler ever seen. We need to see more of that. Yeah. And some great acting by Joshua. That blend of like insanity and sadness turned into happy like laughter. I can do anything, and this like maniacal thing, and then back to the sadness and the realization that he can't, and all that stuff playing all out in his face in the span of a few seconds, while also having to act like he's got the power in his hands. That was a fantastic bit of showmanship and screensmanship.
Yeah, definitely really well done. And of course, as I said a little bit earlier, like the child trying to resurrect her, that was really good. Moraine finally be like, you can't do it. Egwene be like, Rand, you can't do it. Avianda just kind of looking out at what's happening, be like, oh my god, actually, can he do it? Mm-hmm. What is going to happen? That was so fantastic.
That was epic. Of course, we got some resolution here with the Rand and Egwene split. We all knew it was going to happen. Finally, Lanfear really, really drives the point home that she's meddling and she wants Egwene out of the picture.
Yeah, and I like that Rand finally says, like, we were never meant for each other. You know this. You were always chasing something else. I don't like the fact that he says, I'm the Dragon Reborn. I'm not enough. That
kind of weird.
Yeah, it's like what, Gawain, your little princess bullcrap is enough, then the Dragon Reborn isn't? Whatever, we can put that aside. But I'm glad that they finally actually cut that relationship, because it's been going on way too long. He needs to do some other things.
And then her revealing to him that Lanfear had been torturing her in her dreams, and you see like the anger build up. That was needed, because he's getting way too comfortable around Lanfear. She needed to be reminded that she's an evil, evil bitch. Yeah. And that he can't trust her. He can't trust any of them. They've all sworn themselves thousands of years ago to serve a greater darkness. It's not good for him. It's not good for the world. Lanfear is an evil, evil person. Get the hell out of there. Stay away from her milfy witchness.
Yeah.
'Tis evil.
Absolutely. Going backwards a little bit, I loved seeing Moghedien say hi to Nynaeve and Elaine with a little bit of compulsion.
That actress is just...
She nails it.
She's got such a cool take on it. I never really knew what to expect, but this kind of like, looks like Bjork and acts sort of like almost like childlike evil.
Yeah, because because in an earlier scene, she's like chewing up the food and making a weird ass cake for the Black Sisters.
Yeah,
and
spitting in their
it.
food and stuff. Like, she's so like playfully immature and just playfully evil. It's great. I love the character that they've created here for her.
Punctuated with little bits of actual evil, like, I'm going to kill you in the dream world by, like,
shoving my thumbs into my face.
Into your face.
Yeah.
It's so hardcore.
And then working back a little bit more, we've got some weird powers kind of stuff. The power seems to be a lot more instinctive in this turning of the wheel.
Yeah.
Because Bode and Eldrin Cawthon are apparently both channelers, or one of them is kind of weird. That almost looks like they were channeling together, so I wonder if they're going to have some kind of a weird sister bond relationship sort of thing with the power, if that's going to be a weird thing they add. But they can somehow heal, which we know is an incredibly complex set of weaves that
not
Nynaeve
everyone
can do instinctively, but most people can't. In fact, it's a very, very rare talent from what we understand. So, okay, fine. Instinctively, I guess you could be talked through both your first conscious touching of the power and healing at once, but we had to sort of heal Alana somehow. She wasn't going to survive 5 crossbow bolts. Even if on rewatch I did notice that they missed vital organs, because either the White Cloaks are incompetent or they intentionally wanted to capture her so that they could have a little bonfire again. Which I'm leaning towards the bonfire aspect, because even if you're incompetent, 10 dudes with crossbows should be able to kill one person very quickly, irrespective of whether if they had the drop on her. And that's last episode. Last episode has its own problems. Let's stick to this one. Sorry.
Yeah. The Hills of Tanchico. I loved that
fucking
song. That
banger.
was so funny.
And it was a pretty fun moment with all the like her singing and having to talk her way out of
out of the
BS
daughter heir
stuff.
situation. Like, no, I'm just the Gleeman's apprentice.
And Thom is back. Thom is back, and Thom is back better than ever. He seems much more Thom-like than he was in season 1 when we saw him, although we had a pretty brief glimpse of him. Here we get to a little more backstory. We know that he talks about Thom being in Camelin with Morghedien, so he recognized Elaine right away. Him wanting to run away from the boys again, be like, yo, last time I was helping you guys,
you left me for dead,
which is
kind of funny because he told them to run. Like, he's fighting a fade. Everyone would assume, you're dead. If you don't know the story, you're dead, bro. Sorry, we're just trying to save our hide, but that's okay.
But he's got more colorful clothing on. He seems more happy. He's playing some music. He's doing more Gleeman-y type things.
His voice sounds better when he sings.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. And we got to see back in the Two Rivers, Patton Fane has made his reappearance.
Yes.
Obviously murdering his way into White Cloak graces again somehow, or worming his way, he's Mordeth and Patton Fane all rolled into one, so he's got that. He's got those external motivations that he's working towards.
Yeah, you get some cool scenes with Perrin and Fail, though one of them, Fail's mother being a dark friend,
that was out of nowhere. I suppose they want a trauma bond.
Yeah.
So Fail has trauma in that her mother turned out to be a dark friend, killed her brother, and
then she ran away.
And then we got Perrin
finally admitting to someone, be like, yeah, it was an accident, it was in the heat of battle, but I was the one who done killed my wife. I'm sorry. And then, so you get the trauma bond.
Since we do know now, apparently, that at least 2 years have gone past since Winter Night, it does seem appropriate that he's moving on.
Yeah.
Even though it's hard to gauge the passage of time in this show,
because you never see any weather.
Yeah, it's apparently time has. They've explicitly stated that a couple years have gone by, so we know that some time has passed. He's had time to get over it.
Yeah.
Another important lore thing that we learned this is a new addition that was never in the books. The male Adam works differently than the female Adam. So female Adam, 1 collar, 1 bracelet, 1 bond. Male Adam seems to be 2 collars, or 1 collar and 2 bracelets. So 2 people control 1 person. And now thinking back to the books, the way that it's described from Moghedien briefly is that there's some pushback, there's some flow through the male Adam both ways. That means that if you are the woman holding the leash of the man, the madness and the effects will start to ripple backwards along the leash, so that eventually he may be able to control you.
Yeah, and you can put this off with having a second one, but that also carries another greater risk that just takes longer.
Trust, and who's going to be collaring the Dragon Reborn on the dark side, who's going to be able to trust one another and be able to relinquish that power. And because once you think about it, if you're collared to the Dragon Reborn, you basically have at your disposal the greatest well of power, natural well of power that's not a Sangreal, and we know that you can force people to channel with it, because Nynaeve does it to Moghedien later. She uses the collar and bracelet to force Moghedien to channel for her a lot.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. 2 people controlling Rand, two bracers, 1 collar, something new. And I guess that brings us back to the opening with young Leandrin. So now we know a rough age.
Yeah.
Leandrin's 95.
Yeah, we know she was married when she was 13
so she's
years
probably
old.
So she's 108 years old now or something. Yeah. And so we see her channeling to protect herself, which I assume is her first time channeling.
And her baby.
Yeah.
And
so we get a little bit of her motivations. Whether that's important or not,
No.
Depends on what they end up doing
Yeah.
with her character.
That's true.
Book-wise, her character absolutely peters out right around this time. She tries to challenge Moghedien because she thinks her compulsion weave is strong. Turns out she's a child in a woman's world and gets absolutely smacked down. Moghedien puts a shield on her that no one will be able to unweave or remove from her.
Yeah.
And that's the end of Leandrin's character for the rest of the books. We never see her again. So if they want to keep her around, which makes sense,
I kind of assume they will, because she's a good villain right now.
Exactly.
She's a good play off of...
And they're adding sympathy to her backstory. So last episode, they showed, or one of the previous episodes, they showed her coming back to Tanshiko and enacting her revenge on the family that mistreated her.
Yeah.
And stopping the forced marriage and then blanking that woman's mind. So we got the sympathy there. We had the sympathy factor of her trying to take care of her
baby,
her dying child twice now.
Yeah.
Both as an adult and then as an infant. And we see this young girl thrown into Tanshiko, and then Ishamael appears and offers his... The actor is great, has such compassion and kindness in his face and in his eyes when he's talking to her. Absolutely seductive side of the dark one right there, reaching out. So I have a feeling that Leandrin is not going anywhere. She's going to be a recurring bad person because they're building up motivations for her. And there's no point to building up a backstory for a character you're going to kill off any moment. Unless it's a good character you want to feel bad for and not an evil person.
Yeah. No, yeah. That's actually a pretty good, really quick recap of everything that happened in episode 5.
Yeah, it's all setting up. So the Trollocs are coming in through the Waygate. We see that. So the invasion is going to start of the Two Rivers, which means that we're going to get some showdowns between White Cloaks, Trollocs, and Emmons Fielders. That should be a lot of big stuff. I want to mention as well the pacing of this episode in comparison to the last episode. Last episode, too frenetic, too much stuff going on. They should have consolidated more of the storylines. This episode was a lot better about that. They stuck with the storylines together. They stuck in Tanshiko for a while. 10 whole minutes at a time. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
They stuck with the Waste and Ran and stuff. So there was plenty of jumping around because there are a lot of storylines, but...
It felt more consolidated.
They let each line breathe a little bit. I'm still not a fan of some of those really, really abrupt cuts between scenes.
Yeah.
Without even an establishing shot. Like... It's not even broadcast TV, guys. You can waste an extra 4 seconds on an establishing shot to show us we're back in Tanshiko. Instead of just cutting from a bar fight to another bar fight instantly, and then you're like, whiplash, like, where the fuck did I just go? This looks different. What happened?
Yeah, yep.
That's a small niggle, because as a contrarian, I simply can't say only good things. You got to find something bad.
Yeah. And then also, like, this has been a running theme, but the fashion design on the Black Sisters.
Oh, they're going real. They're really getting into it.
Yeah, it's kind of ludicrous and very funny.
Like, cartoonishly, like, they're setting themselves so, like, look how crazy my hairstyles are, and I've shaved the sides of my head, and I've put cornrows here, or Leandrin, I'm letting my hair go crazy, like, straw, witchy, from
one scene to the next, it'll be completely, like, all tangled together, all braided together and perfect, and then, it just looks like a heaping mess. But that's a small little, like, niggle. But overall, though, oh my god, this was a great episode.
Great episode, and really, really set up a lot of good stuff. We're going to see the fight in Emmons Field breaking out. We've got that established. We've got Rand. We see the power and the madness and the desire to do good. We see what happens with uncontrolled rage, too. What the power does when he gets mad. Shit just happens.
Yeah. Yeah, you see that, and you definitely set up the nice Moghedien Naive arc, so those two will hopefully come to blows sometime in the next 2 episodes.
Maybe we'll get rid of the blocks sooner rather than later. I hope
so, too.
Because they're really hamstringing her character right now by not really even giving her the opportunities to get angry in channel.
Yeah.
Right now, she had a bigger role in this episode, but she's very much a minor backseat character right now. I think we need a little more growth from her, and that may mean that her block gets dismantled sooner rather than later. And we know Moghedien has a big hand in dismantling the block,
yep.
Not on purpose, so why not have it happen now?
Yeah. And after watching this episode, I am more convinced that Moraine will die, quote unquote, at the end of this season, because they keep pushing all these, like, small little things, with Lanfear and her, and, like, the problems that are going. I think that she will go through somehow, or somehow will go through the Twisted Arches
And she'll
at the end
somehow,
of the season.
somehow Lanfear will be removed from the equation for some time.
Yeah, but
You know, neither of them actually die.
Yeah, but I wonder how long it'll be. Like, yeah, how long, like, will they keep... Because, like, we know when Moraine comes back, in the books at least, but, like, we don't know exactly when Lanfear is 100% released, when her imprisonment from the Dark One is kind of, like, quasi-over. Because even then, I mean, like, because even at the last battle, it's still sort of going on, where she's, like, whoa, I'm in prison now. Oh, no, I'm not, because the Dark One's attention isn't on me, so I can't escape for 5 seconds. So that, who knows about that? But I'm pretty sure that that is also going to get set up, either at the end of this season, or, as you said, very early next season. But I'm going to go for the end of this season.
My personal fan theory is season 4, episode 1, to get us emotionally invested again in it, Moraine gets killed.
There are air quotes there, everyone.
Yes.
Spoilers.
So, all we can do now is, well, we can say that this is a great season so far, with one episode except being the exception, and it's we rewatched it, and it's not awful, but I think in comparison to what we got in episode 4, episode 5 was a huge letdown. Episode 6 now may rival episode 4.
I think it does. And, I mean, like, if it doesn't rival, it's definitely the best episode so far of the whole show. Beyond episode 4.
Agreed.
And, the
and they did so much with the hour that they had in this episode. We saw so many great moments. Rand having an epic power moment and a fight with Forsaken, which shows us, wow, he is just next level powerful, you know? Like, let's say Samael is A tier, obviously Rand has to be S tier in the power. Like, just to manhandle him without even looking at him. Looked awesomely easy. I love that for him. I love that for his character. I love that for the actor having the ability to show all those emotions, go through that range so quickly. Hayden Christensen should have taken notes from that when he was, you know, go forward in time, watch Josh Ostrodowski act that way, and then go back in time and bring that to your Revenge of the Sith acting. But it's different nerd topic. Let's stick to the topic at hand because we're running out of time. I like the episode. I'm excited for the next 2. I'll be sad when the season's over because I won't know what the deal is.
Yeah, I'm extremely happy about this episode. It was a very great thing to watch. The whole season 3 is definitely shaping up really good. As they're going right now, it's on pace for an epic ending to episodes.
Yes.
So I think we all have a pretty good optimistic lookout. And yeah.
All right, stick around for us next week. We'll be back on Thursday to do our reaction to the second to last episode, of course, and there'll be more good stuff coming between now and then. Thanks again for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you thought about the episode, and we will catch you next time on the Thundering Dice channel.
Sayonara.